Welcome, everybody, to Week 8 of the NFL's Grilling Truth Pick'em Show, brought to you by Gridiron Mo, an interactive football app, where you get to call what you think the offense or defense should do during a live NFL game and see what all others have called also. So check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. As always, I'm your host for the Pick'em Show, Mike Goodpaster, and I want to welcome in my co-host. As always, we're going to start off with the biggest loser, which is Mark Cooper, because Phillip Rivers 2 weeks ago beat the Denver Broncos, and then Coop couldn't make it to the show last week. Coop, how you doing?
Hey, some of us have to go fishing for a living. You know what I mean? Come on. What's up?
Fishing for a living. And why would I call? It says that, you work for Caldwell Banker.
Well, you know what? That's what I do as a hobby. I professionally fish.
Okay, how's that working out for you?
That's why my hobby's a better option.
Yeah, so your hobby pays the bills. Your actual profession, though, doesn't.
Yeah.
All right.
But, hey, the Chargers are not going to beat the Broncos in Denver, so let's just get that one over with.
Well, we haven't even got to that game yet. But you did say that if they did, you would personally come to Indiana and kiss my ass.
And that's a fact. That's
all right,
not going to
happen. Everybody heard that. All right. So, Matt, if nothing else, you drive out and pick Coop up and bring him to my house. All right.
Well, as long as that's what you're looking for, I guess we'll do all that we can to help you out there.
Hey, we're putting a picture on Twitter, too. We're tweeting that all over the place. Also on the show, Matt Andruscavage, who was the big winner last week. He had a record of 9-5. We just ignored the tie since it's a freaking tie. How you doing, Matt?
Good Lord. I am good. Looking forward to another week of the Pick'em. Good to have Coop back.
All right. Next up, I think, Coop, that Matt has a little man crush on you, too, by the way.
Well, I'm not asking him to come out to Wisconsin and
Well, ain't nobody going to Wisconsin to kiss your butt anyways. And you know what? This is the thing you got to remember. Coop offered to come kiss my butt if they lose. So.
Well, it's not going to happen, so it's just an easy gimme.
Okay. All right. Next up, we got Brian Schmidt. Brian was 8-6 last week. How you doing, Brian?
Doing good. I'd have been happier if I'd have been 9-5, but
Yeah, typical Steeler fan. You'd been happy just to be tied because that's what Matt was. All right. Next up, we've got the actual in-the-house biggest loser since Coop wasn't here, even though Coop's usually the biggest loser. Aaron Zepnick. Aaron was 6-8 last week. How you doing, Aaron?
I was also apparently on a week's vacation last week with my picks, but looking to get back into the winning,
Right now, Aaron, remember this. Out of everybody that's on this show every week, you're still the only one that has not won yet.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that one out.
So I think this week will be his week. So we're going to start off with another classic Thursday night battle for Aaron to pick. Jacksonville at Tennessee.
I've been on Jacksonville way too often, which is why I probably haven't won yet. I'm going with Tennessee. Defense, run game. Jacksonville's offense is struggling. We talked about this tonight on our fantasy show. And, the inconsistencies and struggles of Jacksonville's offense is why they're bottom feeding in that division right now.
All right, Coop, Jacksonville, Tennessee, two teams the Broncos might be able to beat.
Oh, come on. You know what, Tennessee, I'm going with Tennessee. There's not a lot I like about Jacksonville this year. They've kind of picked it up a notch, but still Tennessee, I think, is a better overall football team with more weapons.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tennessee also. I think they're the better team. The only thing is, I thought they actually had a chance to win the division. But if you're going to have a chance to win a division, you've got to beat Indianapolis at home, which they didn't do. But I'm still going with Tennessee. Brian?
Yeah, I'm going with Tennessee. Jacksonville has completely disappointed me this year, and not anywhere near a team that I thought they'd be. I didn't think they'd be world beaters, but I thought they'd be a heck of a lot better than they are. So I'm not picking them anymore till further notice. So Tennessee it is.
Matt?
I'd really like to take Jacksonville now because Aaron took Tennessee, and but I got to go with Tennessee. They're just a better team. They got a good offense at home. Jacksonville's easily the most disappointing team in the NFL after all the expectations. So Tennessee it is.
All right, I'm going with Jacksonville because Aaron went with Tennessee, and he always goes with Jacksonville. So
That's
the way
why
my
was
luck
going to be
was
my logic.
yeah, I mean, I like your logic there because every time I've ever done that where I picked a team and then I didn't pick the team, that team always won the game. So I'm going to go with some Zepnick logic there, if that's all right with Aaron. And we'll see what happens. Because, I mean, really, both these teams to me are disappointing. I mean, I thought Jacksonville would be better. I thought Tennessee would be better, to tell you the truth. I thought their defense would be better.
I still think they got an outside chance to win that division, but they really
Everybody
did blow
has
a
a
big
chance to win that
opportunity.
division that's in that division. So,
Even Jacksonville?
yeah, I think Jacksonville's still got a shot. I mean, it's not like they're way behind. But, all right, Brian, New England Patriots, who just crushed the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills.
Wow, you really just had to segue into that and just couldn't let that one alone, could you?
What? It was true. Did I say anything that was false there?
You could have left it alone.
I could have, but then I wouldn't be myself. Go ahead, Brian. New England at Buffalo.
Got to go with New England. I don't. It's real hard to pick against New England in any game. They're just a pretty good team. I think they're a team that definitely could be seen in the Super Bowl. So I'm going with New England.
All right, Aaron.
I'm going New England too. I don't think you sweep Bill Belichick. Even those games at Buffalo, I think Belichick comes back with a better game plan, and they have Tom Brady this time, who they didn't have last time.
Yeah, I agree with Aaron and Brian. I'm going New England. Coop?
Easy pick. How do you pick against the Patriots as well as they're playing right now?
All right, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those weeks where, over the last few years, you get a team at home against New England and the AFC East where you say, well, this is going to be the time where New England loses, and they never do. So I'm going to go with history and Bill Belichick and just take the Patriots here.
All right, next up, Washington at probably the greatest team in professional football history, the Cincinnati Bengals. Coop?
Oh, y'all had an off week last week playing Cleveland, so you're all rested up and everything. So how do you not beat the Redskins?
You lost to Philip.
Kind of had like a preseason game in the middle of the season against the Browns, so big deal. Okay, I'm taking the Bengals.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I think I think it's actually going to be a better game than we might think, but I think the Bengals will probably pull it out. The Andy Dalton's playing pretty well. Washington does intrigue me here. I think they'll be able to move the ball on them. I almost want to go with Washington on it, but I think Cincinnati will do enough to win.
All right, Aaron?
I want to pick Cincinnati, but I think Washington, this is a big game for Washington because if they're going to stay alive in that division, I think they got to win this game. Man, this is a toss-up for me. Is it at Cincinnati?
Yeah, it's in London, England.
Oh, it's in London. Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of those stupid-ass London, England games that should not exist.
I just love when you lose a home game to London.
I'm going to go Cincinnati.
All righty. I'm going to go with the Bengals, and I think the Bengals win this game. I think the Bengals will win 10 or 11 games this year, just because their schedule's not that tough. I'm going to go Bengals. Brian, I know you want to pick Washington, but who are you going to pick?
Yeah, I want to pick the Bengals. I'm just not a big Washington guy right now. I think the Bengals are going to be okay, and I agree. I think they're going to be a 10-11 win team.
All right, Oakland at Tampa Bay. I guess I'll go first on this one. Jameis Winston's been inconsistent as crap. I'm going to go with Oakland. I like Derek Carr. Their defense isn't very good either. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, and I'm going to go with Carr and Cooper. Brian?
Yeah, I got to go with Oakland on that one. I like this Oakland team. I like what I see. I like watching them. I still think they're a year or two away from being a serious Super Bowl contender, but they're getting better every week, so that may change as the season goes on.
All right, Matt.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay on this one. I think both teams are relatively inconsistent, but I like the way Tampa Bay's been playing lately. I think their offense is starting to come together. that don't mean that Jameis Winston can't turn into bad Jameis. But I like Jacquizz Rogers. I like Barber coming off the bench and spelling him. The offense is scoring points. Defense is playing well. They're at home. Oakland's defense is just not as great as advertised at the beginning of the year. I like Tampa Bay in a close game on this one.
Coop.
Well, I mean, the Raiders had an easy week last week with the Jags, and the Bucs had an easy week with Matt's buddies at the Niners. So they both had like a preseason game again, like the Bengals did. So I don't think the tackles can keep the defensive ends of the Raiders off Jameson, so I'm picking the Raiders.
All right, next game, Arizona at Carolina. Brian.
I think Aaron needs to pick that one.
Oh, you didn't pick that one, Aaron?
No, I didn't pick Oakland. Tampa.
Oh, okay. Are you going to be crazy like Matt and pick Tampa Bay, or are you going with Oakland?
I don't know if I want to pick this one. I'm going to go with Oakland. I just think Cooper, Crabtree, Latavius Murray's back now. I think they have a little bit more offense than Tampa Bay. I'm going Oakland.
All right, Aaron, if you ever just want to pass on a pick, too, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, then I don't get it right. At least I get 50.
I know. Same thing for everybody. Anybody wants to take a pass on a game, go ahead. Especially Matt, since he's close to me. Arizona at Carolina, Brian.
After watching Arizona play and Carolina, I don't know. This game may be terrible. I'm gonna go with Arizona. I think I just think they'll better than Carolina, and I don't believe they can play that bad 2 weeks in a row. Although with Palmer you never can tell, but I'm gonna go with Arizona.
All right, Aaron.
I'm going to go Arizona as well. I don't think Carolina's defense is near as good as Seattle's, and I think that Arizona will right their offense a little bit. I am concerned about their special teams woes. They definitely deserve to lose that game, having a blocked punt and a blocked field goal and all kinds of special teams issues there. But I think they'll bounce back. And Carolina is obviously one of the most disappointing teams this year after a 15-1 year. I just don't believe in them.
All right, Coop.
Boy, it's a tough one. I'm going to go with the Cards by 3. I just think they have more firepower. And like you said, Carolina, or I think it was Aaron said, Carolina they've just fallen apart, and they just can't pick up the pieces. So I think Carolina's got a better overall scheme. I think they've got more continuity, and to play the Seahawks, to a tie like that was a pretty good football game too. So I'm going with Carolina. The Cardinals.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I like the Cardinals in this. If it weren't for the special teams, Arizona could be easily 5-1 or undefeated or something like that. Now, this isn't to say that that Carson Palmer can't lose a big playoff game, but in the regular season, against Seattle, that was tough. I think this is still a real good team. David Johnson's really, really good, and they still got rookie defensive backs over in Carolina. I think Arizona rebounds with their offense and wins the game.
All right, I'm going with Carolina. I think Carolina wins the game. Carson Palmer, not a big fan. I think Carolina's got enough up front to maybe slow. Huh?
Because he was a Bengal?
No, because he's terrible in big situations. Yeah, he's a Bengal. You nailed it.
He's a Bengal.
But he chokes. The one playoff game in his 12 or 13-year career he won, was what? Against Green Bay, and he had to bank a pass off a Packer to win the damn game? And he didn't play very good.
That's hard to do. Really,
Green Bay
that's hard to do.
should have won the game.
You don't think he made a good throw in overtime to Fitzgerald?
I don't care. It's one throw. He still sucks. Next game. All right. San Diego at Denver. I'll pick this one first. I'm taking the Chargers, and not just because they're playing Denver. I like Phillip Rivers. He's a great quarterback. He beat Denver 2 weeks ago. Actually, I think he pretty much manhandled them, Coop. But I'm going to go with Phillip Rivers and San Diego. Coop?
Denver Broncos, baby. You're not going to beat them in their own house. And Wade's going to have a much better game plan, and we got to get to the quarterback. So I'm sure they'll find a way to do that. So I'm picking Denver at home.
So your reason is you're not going to beat them in their house.
Right.
So Denver's never lost a home game?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, you said you're not going to beat them there, so that would
rarely
tell me.
Rarely to Rivers, if at all.
Rarely to Rivers.
In a while.
Well, you just lost to Rivers 2 weeks ago. And the bad thing about that, does that make your team terrible? Because you said he's a terrible quarterback.
No, I think they got a good football team. I mean, they beat the Falcons. I mean, you know.
I know, that's
I mean,
my point. So why couldn't they beat Denver at Denver? Because I think the Falcons did the Falcons beat Denver in Denver?
Mm-hmm.
Are the Bengals 3-4?
What's that got to do with Denver never losing at home, but yet they lost a few weeks ago at home in a game I picked?
Well, you're because it's the Broncos, not the Bengals.
I don't see what the Falcons has to do with the Broncos, not the Bengals. But I think I won that argument, Coop.
Coop, I will add that San Diego beat Denver at Denver. Atlanta beat Denver at San Diego beat Denver at San Diego. Atlanta beat Denver at Denver. And San Diego just beat Atlanta at Atlanta.
And all that together means nothing other than the fact that I think San Diego's going to win. And I think San Diego can win that division. What do you think, Brian? Coop's crazy, isn't he?
I'm going with San Diego just because I like San Diego, and I think it's going to be a big game. I like Phillip Rivers. I'm the same way. I think Phillip Rivers is. I had an argument about this the other day. I think Phillip Rivers is one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, most people don't even rank him top 10. Most people are like Coop and are mean to him all the time. Matt, San Diego and Denver.
You guys know how I feel about Phillip Rivers. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I don't like him in Denver. I just think Denver's defense is going to be too much for him over there. I like the receivers overall. I like Melvin Gordon. I just don't like him in this matchup at Denver. I just don't think it's a good one, and I don't think you can call me crazy for picking Tampa Bay in a toss-up game, and then you take San Diego at Denver. I just don't think that's a.
So now you're calling Brian crazy.
No, I'm calling you crazy.
You always call me crazy, but Brian agreed with me.
I guess I'm calling Brian crazy then.
And I mean, my thing is this, guys. Doesn't it seem like Matt always sides with Coop?
No, not always. I knew that's where you'd be headed with this. I knew that's where you'd be headed with it, but in this case, I got to side with him.
Coop, don't be mean to me. Just be mean to Mike. Even though Coop threw a jab at your 49ers earlier in the show,
I know.
Let that go.
Hey, when the time comes, I'll jab him.
It's going to be a long time before the Niners are going to allow you to jab at anybody.
I can't do it with San Diego in Denver.
To completely change the subject, you know that Matt at times sounds a lot like Oz?
Do you think maybe they're the same person?
I'm wondering.
Oh, you caught me.
You know, Oz listens to every show, so don't say nothing mean about him, Brian, because he already jumped my ass last week because I made fun of him.
I didn't say nothing mean. I just said that Matt sounds like Oz. For a minute there, I was wait a minute, that's Matt. So.
All right, Aaron, San Diego at Denver. You going to go with the cool kids, or you going to go with Coop and Matt?
I don't know. You say that Matt sides with Coop, but I think Schmidt sides with you because he coached with you, and it seems like
we ate a lot of wings.
Love-hate relationship because of the Bengals and Steelers, but I still think he sides with you more than anyone else sides with anyone on the show.
Well, there you go. And Brian takes that as a compliment, don't you, Brian?
Absolutely. I'm here for compliments. So.
We've drank a lot of beer together, or ate a lot of chicken wings together. Of course, Brian doesn't drink.
and we've also played Super Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, we played Super Tecmo Bowl at 3:00 in the morning in our underwear. So there you go.
I really don't need to hear any more.
Well, that's a good bonding experience for two guys in Owensboro, Kentucky.
In your underwear?
House.
Bonding?
Yeah, bonding. There's an ing at the end of that, not an age.
Hey, Coop.
Hey.
Owensboro, Kentucky, bonding in their underwear. I think that's when you get divorced and you're still cousins.
Exactly.
No, see, we're not cousins, so nothing freaky went on in Owensboro, Kentucky.
Your story, you tell it.
And Owensboro, Kentucky is maybe... Am I not right here, Brian? Owensboro, Kentucky is probably the most, I don't even know the word for it, godforsaken place on earth.
Godforsaken would probably start that conversation.
Well, the good thing is I can't offend anybody down there because none of them have computers, so they can't hear us anyways. Plus, I have no intention under any circumstances of ever going back through Owensboro, Kentucky. So, Aaron, San Diego or Denver?
Denver at home.
Denver at home, because you don't beat them there, even though Atlanta did.
I don't see them losing again at home to a division opponent that really can't stop anybody. I mean, San Diego's lost a lot of leads
Denver
this
2
year.
weeks ago, didn't they, Coop?
Yeah, well, let's keep in mind their starting quarterback didn't play either.
No, they played their other backup instead of the other backup. All right, Detroit at Houston. Aaron, since you love the Lions, I'm going to go ahead and let you pick that one first.
I'm going to pick Houston in this game. I'm sorry, I'm going to pick Detroit in this game because
you can't pick them both.
No, I'm taking Detroit.
Okay.
Houston. I was trying to say two things at once here. I'll slow down. Brock Osweiler is not playing well. DeAndre Hopkins is not getting the ball thrown to him. When it's to him, it's either way underthrown or way overthrown. They're just not very consistent with their offensive production. I like Houston's defense, but with the way Stafford's playing right now, I just think there's too much offense for the Lions. I think they end up winning the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like this Detroit team. The only thing that scares me is they're not at home, and it seems like they play a lot better at home than they do away. But Houston, I think, is in trouble with Brock Osweiler at quarterback. Coop, you're a big Osweiler fan. You picking Detroit or Houston?
They're going to boo him out of the stadium this weekend when Detroit beats them. And you know what? I'm going to throw a weird one at you guys. Y'all been around football a long time, and players and coaching and et cetera. Have you ever heard of a guy blow two patella tendons at the same time?
No.
The right tackle. Yeah, I didn't either. The right tackle, Houston Newton, went out of the game, and later on they came back and said that he tore both patella tendons when he went down on a pass block deal with Vaughn, and it was a crazy looking play, but he crumpled like crazy. I mean, it was bad. But I've never heard, as long as I've played and as much as I've been around football, I've never heard a guy tear two patella tendons at the same time. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
But I'm picking Detroit.
You already said that, I thought. All right.
Yep.
Brian.
Yeah, I'm picking Detroit as well. I think Detroit's a pretty good football team. I mean, from what I've been able to see, and obviously down here in Texas, we don't exactly get them on the TV channel very much, but watching highlights and stuff, I think it's a pretty good football team, and I like the way Stafford's playing. And I don't like the way the Texans are playing. Especially their quarterback situation, which I think is just terrible right now. So I got to go with Detroit.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Detroit is definitely playing better. Houston, like you said, is definitely in trouble with their defensive problems and their quarterback problems. I like Detroit's overall scheme. I like the three wide receivers. I don't know what the Bengals cap situation was, but boy, Marvin Jones, I think he could have really helped your team. He's helping Detroit out a lot. The
Bengals cap situation was to keep Marvin Jones. They'd have probably had to lose George Iloka also, which would have cost them Iloka and Nelson, both starting safeties.
Yeah, you don't want that. So
that and the other fact is this: Marvin Jones is getting $7 or $8 million a year. It's hard to pay the guy that's second fiddle to A.J. Green that much money.
Yeah, I can understand it, but he's definitely helping Detroit out. Golden Tate's playing well. Anquan Bolden's moving the chains, scoring the touchdown in the big moments. Stafford just looks like a better quarterback than he has in years past. I like him more at home, but I think they can win this. I don't think this is a real difficult game. Houston just looks like they're imploding.
All right, Matt, the Green Bay Packers at the Atlanta Falcons.
I think Green Bay's got a lot of problems. The running game is just, I don't know how you run out of running backs if you're a general manager. I think you got to make sure you have a third running back. I think that was a big mistake. I think what they were able to do last week was nice for last week. It was the right moves, 5 wide, 5-yard passes, do everything you can. But that's the Bears. In Atlanta,
as Coop would say, they had their bye week during the season last week.
Exactly. That was a total bye week. I don't think they're going to be okay at the moment. In Atlanta, Julio Jones, who's going to cover Julio Jones? They're down to their third or fourth cornerback there. They lost a real tough game last week to San Diego. They lost a real tough game to Seattle. I think Atlanta beats them, and they beats them in double digits.
All right. Brian.
Yeah, I got to go with Atlanta as well. I just feel like they're right now a better football team overall, and I like when they play at home, and I just think they're going to be maybe not a Super Bowl team, but they're going to be a team that's going to cause some noise in the playoffs.
All right, Coop, Atlanta, who went to Denver and won against Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta. I just think they got more tools to play with right now. And
right.
I mean, Green Bay's. I mean, they've just kind of beat the people they've beat by just a bit. You know, I mean, it seems like, and Dallas put a whooping on them pretty good. So I like it. I like Atlanta.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me here picking this game is the fact that I think Atlanta has played better on the road this year than they have at home, which is weird to say about a dome team. Because they lost to Tampa early in the year at home. They lost last week at home. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I just think right now, at this moment in time during this season, Atlanta's better. Aaron?
Call me a homer if you want.
Well, you're a homer then.
You're a homer.
I think you were right when you said I'm going to win this week, and this will be the game that decides it maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Packers.
You know what? I was just saying that to make you feel better because you lose every week, and I didn't want to sound like a bully.
So I think the Packers win, and this is why. I think that they're finding out how to use their weapons. I think they're finding out ways to get Ty Montgomery and Randall Cobb the ball out of the backfield. They're finding out ways to use Devontae Adams, finding matchups that work. And I think there's a couple of key guys that could be coming back this week. Demarius Randall, Quentin Rollins, who knows with both of them. But, Jordy
Rollins will not be back.
Rollins will not. I still think they're going to roll coverage to Julio Jones, and I'm not convinced that Atlanta has that many more weapons.
They got 2 stud running backs.
Are you kidding?
2 stud running backs, Mohamed Sanu. I mean,
the running game doesn't.
Jacob Tammy's a good tight end.
Their offensive line is not as good as Dallas's. And
but the running backs are really good, and Green Bay's defensive line's not very good.
What's that?
I don't think
Atlanta's got a great offensive line.
Great. Atlanta's got a really good offensive line.
They have a good offensive line, but they're not Dallas. And
nobody's Dallas.
No, and the Packers held Ezekiel Elliott in check the first half. I think that the Packers defense will hold the running game in check. They'll roll coverage to Julio Jones, and they'll beat the Falcons at Atlanta.
Ezekiel Elliott was averaging 5 yards a carry in the first half.
But he wasn't ripping off the 20, 30 yarders like he did in the second half.
Yeah, but the difference between Dallas and Atlanta is this. If Atlanta's averaging 5 yards a carry, Julio Jones is going to be unstoppable.
You guys don't have anybody that can cover Julio Jones. I don't care if you double him. Remember 2 years ago in Lambeau when he had like 250 yards passing or receiving?
I'm picking the Packers. I didn't think that this is a game that the Packers would lose before the season. I don't think it's a game they'll lose now.
All right, next game. Next game, Seattle at New Orleans. Coop.
Man, I'm going with Seattle. I mean, I like the way their pass rushes pick it up. I mean, they were really all over the Cardinals this past weekend, and I think that pass rush is going to be what will beat Drew Brees.
All right, I'm going with New Orleans. They're at home in the Dome. He's a lot better at home in the Dome. Seattle offensively, their offensive line is not very good, to say the least, right now. And I just think the Saints will be able to outscore them, whether that's 21-20 or 37-30. I think the Saints win with Drew Brees. Brian?
This one's tough for me because I like Seattle, but I like the way New Orleans plays at home. I'm going to go with New Orleans at home. I think it'll be a close game, but I just like the way New Orleans plays at home. If this was anywhere else, it wouldn't be New Orleans, but I like the way New Orleans plays at home.
You know what? As we continue to show on after what Aaron said earlier, I think you do pick everything I pick all the time, Brian. We do agree all the time.
Well,
maybe
yeah,
I think maybe it's just great minds think alike.
That's what I'm thinking. But
Man crush.
No, more of a.
Well, now we're going to have to get a sixth person on the show so Aaron can have somebody to have a man crush on because he's getting jealous. Aaron, Seattle at New Orleans.
I'm going New Orleans as well. Not to agree with you guys, but I think Drew.
If you didn't agree with us, you'd have to agree with Coop. So either way, you were screwed.
I think Drew Brees at home in the Dome. I agree with you on the Seattle offensive line looked pathetic against Arizona. I think that New Orleans has enough receivers, and Mark Ingram's not a bad running back, and I think that they will score enough points. I think it'll be like a 21-17 game.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, reluctantly, I don't want Seattle to win this game. So I'm going to take
pick like
New Orleans.
Did, right?
No, I'm going to take New Orleans. They're at home.
Okay.
I'm worried about this. To me, this game's a coin flip. If this game's in Seattle, I think Seattle beats them.
Atlanta beat them at home.
Oakland beat them, but Oakland was able to score
Carolina almost beat them
7 points to win.
Seattle's offense is in real trouble, especially if Russell Wilson's hobbled. If Russell Wilson can't extend the plays like he's used to doing, I don't think he's going to make a lot of big plays. I
think they're like 28th in the league in the rush.
Yeah, I know. To me, it's a total coin flip. I do like the way the Saints play at home. Their defense plays a little bit better. And I like Brandon Cooks. I like Michael Thomas. I'm going to take the Saints by a field goal.
All right. Has everybody picked that one? Yeah. Okay. Next game, Philadelphia at Dallas, Matt.
Oof. Good game. Real good game. I'm going to go Dallas.
This should be the Monday night game instead of like the Jets in Cleveland.
Right. No doubt.
Oh, my God.
I think Dallas with their rest, getting a bye week, getting Dez Bryant back. I think they got a lot of weapons on offense. The offensive line's real good. I like Philadelphia. They're a good team. I think Dallas is going to come away with the win, though. Maybe when they go to Philadelphia, they'll lose. But I think Dallas wins this one.
All right, I'm going with Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia has a really good defensive line, maybe not good enough to stop Ezekiel Elliott, but to hold him around 100 yards and force Dak Prescott to beat him. I like Carson Wentz. I'm going to Philadelphia. Aaron?
I'm going Dallas at home. I think with a week to prepare, they will find ways to keep Carson Wentz, a little confused. I think Dallas' defense is underrated. I think Sean Lee's playing at a high level. I really like this team, the way they run the ball and play decent defense. I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. They're not 5-1 on accident.
All right, Coop?
I'm taking Dallas at home for all those same reasons, and I think this offensive line's just become so dominant that it'll be tough. Eagles beating the Vikings last week. I was trying to look for some clips on that to find out what happened there, but I'm still going to take Dallas over them at home.
All right, Brian?
I'm going to pick Dallas at home. I just think pretty good football team, and I like what their offense does. And Philadelphia, I want to be sold on, but I think on the road in Dallas, I think now if this was in Philadelphia, I'd probably feel differently. But I think in Dallas, I got to go with them.
All right, that's good. You'll all be wrong, and I'll pick up a game there. Kansas City at Indy, Coop.
Ooh. I like Kansas City enough to just say they're going to beat the Colts at Indy. I think more weapons. I think, the offensive line won't be able to handle Kansas City's defensive front, so I'm going with Kansas City.
All right. Aaron?
I'm going with Kansas City as well. I think they're the more complete team, better defense, enough weapons on offense with Travis Kelce and Ware and Macklin. I think Colts right now, their offensive line is not very good. I think I think Kansas City will have 8 to 10 sacks.
All right,
maybe
Matt?
the game Andrew Luck gets hurt.
All right, well, that's a positive note to end on. Matt, Kansas City, Andy.
Tough game. In Kansas City, this is a lot easier to pick. In Indianapolis, it's similar to New Orleans, where the Colts play a little bit better. I'm probably going to have to go Kansas City on this just because that Colts offensive line is terrible. It's real bad. And Kansas City's got a good defense. To me, it's a total coin flip. Nothing would surprise me in this game. I'll take Kansas City by 3.
All right. Brian?
I'm going to pick Kansas City. Even though, part of me wants to Indianapolis being at home, but I won't pick Kansas City. I just think overall a bit better. And Indy is just so inconsistent. So I'm gonna go with Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs also. No matter where you play this game, I think the Chiefs win it. You've always got Andrew Luck. If they can protect him, they got a chance. But I'm going with the Chiefs also. Aaron, Minnesota at Chicago.
Minnesota. Chicago won't score a lot of points, and that usually means you lose. So,
all righty, Coop.
This is such a gimme. The Vikings should just pound them, especially getting beat by the Eagles last week. I think they'll take it out on the Bears.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I got to go with the Vikings, but I do think Minnesota got exposed a little bit last week. But I don't think Chicago's good enough to beat pretty much anybody. So
I don't think it was so much exposed, Brian. It's just the fact that they're losing so many offensive linemen right now that it's going to be hard for them to keep winning doing that.
Yeah, it is. But I think Bradley's a good quarterback. I don't know that he's a championship quarterback, and I think that's going to be their downfall as the season goes on. I think they'll get the playoffs. I just don't think they'll be a contender to win a championship.
Well, I think if their offensive line was intact, they would be a contender. Just because
I agree.
The defense is really good.
Yeah.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Chicago's terrible at home. I don't see any real reason to think they'll get any more than 10 points against this defense, and I think the offense will play a lot better than they did last week. So Minnesota.
All right, I don't think they're terrible at home. Seems like they lose by 3 every time they play at home. So it's not terrible.
Their record's still bad, though.
I know.
The Bears are just
they suck whether they're home or away.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next game. I figured you'd like that, Aaron. Aaron's not a big Bears fan, I don't think. All right. Next game. First up, Coop, Monday Night Football, the New York Jets against the Cleveland Browns in a rematch of the first Monday Night Football game in history in 1970. I had to throw in some interesting tidbit just so people wouldn't fall asleep when I announced the matchup.
Yep. Jets. Cleveland's in shambles. Easy pick, just like the Vikes.
All right. Brian.
What game are we picking again? You just put blank.
The New York Jets against the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's FCS college football.
I thought it was more like high school. Oh, my goodness. Can Cleveland get their first win of the season? Probably not. So I'm going to have to go with the Jets. But, boy, it's not going to be a good game.
All right, Matt.
I'm taking Cleveland. I think they're going to get their first win. And unfortunately, this isn't going to be the classic that Coop played in 1986 with the 500-yard game by Kozar. But
Coop didn't play in that game. He was a Bronco.
My bad.
Coop played in the classic the week later.
Yeah, my bad.
When Coop
drive,
led
baby,
last,
drive.
When Coop led that last-minute 98-yard drive that they always give freaking
I knew he was
Elway
on the
credit
Broncos.
for.
Good Lord.
Well, they always give Elway credit for it, but we know Mark Cooper is the reason that happened.
Browns, Broncos, Jets, they're all three, both those games were real good.
They all start with a B except for Jets. What the hell's the difference?
They won't be that kind of a game. But I think it'll be an ugly game, and the Browns are going to find a way to win this game. I think to get their first win of the year.
All right, Aaron.
You know, going into the fantasy show tonight, I was on the Browns getting their first win of the year, and after Oz told us to pick it, and Matt listened to him, I'm going Jets.
Oh, really? This is an Oz pick. Oz is listening. Listens to every NFL Pick'em show, too.
I don't think the Jets are very good. I think Oz made a couple of good points, and the Browns haven't played terrible at times, and they've almost won a couple of games, and the Jets are bad. So
I don't think
the
Jets are bad.
Broncos.
I think the Jets have one of the best defensive fronts in football. They have Matt Forte, who I still think at the age of 30 is a badass running
There's
back.
something wrong with that team, though.
Well, yeah, it's because Ryan Fitzpatrick has not played near as well as what he did last year.
Yeah, I know.
And Darrell Revis has gotten a little old. I don't think the DBs are quite as good as what they were. Now, I was going to pick Cleveland in this game, but since Matt picked them, it ain't going to happen. So I'm going to go with the Jets, the Jets, Jets. So that was the final game of the week. So right now,
do you have a different schedule than I do? Because I have the Chicago-Minnesota game on Monday night.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Sunday, Monday, they all suck.
God,
Sunday night is
terrible
the Eagles
primetime game.
I don't want to watch either one of them, Aaron, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. I just write them down however the computer tells me to. I was just really glad that you didn't tell me that it was like the Jets and some other team, and I had the completely wrong week, and we don't have to do the show completely over again.
No, I have the Vikings at the Bears on Monday night, Eagles at the Cowboys on Sunday night.
Oh, really? We got the Eagles at the Cowboys on Sunday night. Well, that's something to look forward to then.
That's good.
Yeah, but The Walking Dead's on at the same time.
I think this is the week that the flexing started.
Is it?
Yeah.
So what's the Monday night game now?
Chicago at home against Minnesota.
Well, hell, that's probably worse than the Jets at Cleveland.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. The Sunday night game would be great, but The Walking Dead's on. That kind of trumps everything.
I don't know. Don't talk about The Walking Dead because we DVR it because my wife works on that night. We haven't watched it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I ain't going to say nothing then.
Am I the only person in America that doesn't watch that show?
Probably.
No, there's two. There's you and one other guy. I forget what his name was, though. Coop, you watch it?
Nope.
See?
There you go.
Guy.
All right. I just gained a little more respect for you, Coop.
Ooh, that means he had very little to begin with, Coop. You going to take that?
Hey, you know what? He's a smart man.
Thank you, Coop.
Oh, God. Here's his man crush. Now it's going to be Coop and Matt all over Coop all the time. It's going to be Aaron and Matt fighting over Coop's affection and attention now, Brian.
Next thing you know, we'll be sitting in our underwear in some place in Kentucky.
Playing Nintendo or whatever.
That won't be me.
It was Owensboro, Kentucky.
Aaron, you go ahead.
And I'll tell you what, I am the greatest Super Tecmo Bowl player of all time, and Brian's got to back it up because I used to trash him and Trent.
Well, he is the greatest Tecmo Bowl player of all time if he's drunk. If he's not drunk, he sucks.
Yeah, but if you're in Owensboro, Kentucky, like 90% of the time you have to be drunk to survive.
Explain this game so the common people know what the hell you're talking about, because I have no idea what that game is.
You don't know what
Super
Tecmo
Bowl is? Matt plays in the World Championships every year.
Bowl?
Dear God.
How old are you, Aaron?
Techno Bowl. How old are you guys?
How old are you, Aaron?
I'm 40.
Super Techno Bowl? Is that like
Super
Nintendo or like
Bowl.
Star Wars? What is, I mean,
like Nintendo.
What is it?
You haven't seen the
1991.
commercials? They still run commercials about Bo Jackson on it on the TV.
Oh my God!
And Brian Bosworth.
I just lost all respect. Scotland.
Who'd we lose
Yeah,
respect for? Is that Aaron or is it Mark? I know Mark knows what Super Tecmo.
You guys play like Pokemon, and you guys play what else
No.
you play?
Oh my
I don't
God.
play Pokemon.
No. Well, it's not like we sit around and watch Star Wars like some people.
You know what's funny is
Who
Cooper's
plays
probably
Pokemon?
on the first Tecmo
Them,
Bowl
all
Nintendo.
of those guys, and probably the Super Mario and all that stupid stuff too. What is wrong with you guys? Grow up.
We were in Owensboro, Kentucky at 3 o'clock in the morning. What else are you going to do? It's either that or just, I don't know, walk around the streets like zombies. But then that'd be like Walking Dead, and you'd think that's stupid too.
Pretty much.
All right. But, hey, make sure next week that you're on the show after Phillip Rivers whips you guys' ass for the second time this year.
That okay. And
No fishing
that ain't
trip.
happening.
It's happening.
That ain't happening.
It's happening.
Okay. We'll see.
It's happening. All right. Anybody want to say any final words, Matt? Or anybody?
Yeah, don't be surprised. Matt Ryan's going to have his worst game of the year, and the Packers will be 5-2.
Now, remember 2 weeks ago when we had this debate over Green Bay and Dallas when I was sure.
Oh, Aaron, you can't be kicking Green Bay in a situation like this after Dallas. You guys played the Bears.
Hey, I just
You're
realized
not going to be able to
something,
do that against the Falcons.
Matt seems to want to pipe up now and make fun of you about the Packers getting destroyed by the Cowboys. But the one thing, the reason Matt's getting so cocky, you know why that is? Because his team's under freaking bye, and this is going to be the only week where they don't get their ass kicked the rest of the year.
True statement.
So here's my question.
I'm just saying, I don't see how they beat Atlanta.
Because the two teams they lost to are Minnesota and Dallas, who are both 5-1.
Atlanta's a good team.
Those two teams.
They could have easily won the last two games.
Yeah, but I think it's
And
possible.
they went into Denver and
San
won.
Diego, who's got just as bad of problems as the Packers, who you guys picked over Denver.
Yeah, because San Diego's a good football team. They've got
Phillip
a running
Rivers
game.
is playing better than Aaron Rodgers
They've got
by
a great
mile.
quarterback who's playing great.
Phillip Rivers
San
is
Diego
playing way better than Aaron Rodgers.
And San Diego has no passing game.
You have no run game. None.
I'll take Aaron
Montgomery
Rodgers
will not
over
run.
Rivers. They don't have to run.
You have a wide receiver in the backfield.
They don't have to run when you can basically flip the little dump-off passes that are high percentage plays that are just like a run.
That'll work against the Bears, not on the road against the Falcons.
They will catch Atlanta's aggressive defense with misdirection. They will win this game.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you.
All right. Are you girls done fighting yet?
I'm surprised you're not on this one, Mike.
Why would I be on it? I think the
You
game's
agree
damn
with
near a
me.
toss-up. I just think Atlanta's a little bit better team. So I'm not pushing all my chips on the table like you did, Matt. I just watched them lose to San Diego at home.
Thank you.
But I will give you this. The big difference and the reason I take Atlanta is San Diego does have a running game. Green Bay has no running game. It's hard to win with a below-average offensive line and no running game. And against Julio Jones. And
With your
I
fourth,
think
fifth, and
the final-
sixth D-backs.
I think the final score of this game is something like 40-24. I just think it's going to be hard to stop him. And you can't stop Julio Jones. Ask Denver, right, Coop?
Who's going to be on Julio Jones?
He had like 2 catches against us. Are you kidding me? It was all the running backs that made
He won.
the catches.
He won.
Yeah, he didn't.
In Denver, where nobody ever wins.
And I'm pretty sure.
Hey, they did it. They did a great job game planning that one because they had their backs out of the backfield underneath our linebackers all night, and we couldn't make
And that's
Denver
my
does not
point.
have Aqib Talib and Chris Harris Jr.
Yeah.
That too, and we had Paxton.
They have
so.
Micah Hyde.
No.
Michael, what?
He's a slot guy that covers the tight end or a backs. But
yeah, Jacob
who's
Tammy
your corner
will have a
then?
field day.
Who's the great corner that's coming out there to cover Julio Jones?
Julio Jones went off for like 250 yards a couple years ago in Green Bay. Who won that game?
That doesn't matter. That was 2 years ago.
Yes, it does, because you brought up Julio Jones having 250 yards, Matt. What's it matter?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter who won the game. You couldn't stop Julio Jones. That's all.
Well,
I'm saying.
actually, Atlanta was also like a
proven.
really bad football team 2 years ago, weren't they?
They're a much better team this year than they were 2 years ago. They got a running game now. Their defense is better. They got a real coach. That was under Mike Smith.
Green Bay's given up they're 15th on pass defense, 242 yards a game.
They've got no secondary. That's
their
why.
secondary's banged up, but if you make them one-dimensional, the secondary plays better, just like we did against the
but how are you going to make them one-dimensional?
You're not going to make them one-dimensional. Tevin
They've
Coleman
got
and
two
Devontae
really
Freeman
good
are going to run
running
very well.
Tevin Coleman's banged up, might not play. And even if he does play, how many touches is he going to get? And Devontae Freeman, he's great, but the Packers will
Except against the
concentrate
Packers.
on shutting down the run.
The Packers don't shut down the run against good teams that can run the ball, though.
They only shut down backup running backs.
And the Adrian Peterson, where you brought up the fact they played the first half against him, Peterson coming into that game was only averaging 3 yards per carry.
This is why they play the games.
This is like the Dallas discussion 2 weeks ago.
It could be. It could be best game of the week, actually.
Nah, I
don't think
there's
there's
no
any
doubt.
way that
Anybody would
more
say
than
that's the game of the week over the Jets and the Browns is out of their mind.
I think
Brian
pumped up to see the Jets
Fitzpatrick
and the
versus
Browns.
Cody Kessler.
I think there's 3 really good games this week. I think that the Seattle-New Orleans game is intriguing. I think the Philly-Dallas game is a good game, and I think this is a good game. But I think the Packers will actually pull it out, I'm telling you.
Denver Chargers would be a great game, too.
I think Philly-Dallas is the best game of the week. I think right now they're the 2 best teams in the NFC.
That's probably true.
I don't think Philly's one of the best teams in the NFC. I think they just got hot against Pittsburgh, hot against Minnesota. They played well them 2 games.
They've only played 5 games in a season, and in those games they blew out Pittsburgh, and their defense manhandled Minnesota.
Yeah, but
and their one loss was a game where I thought they outplayed Detroit. It's just Stafford got them at the end of the game. They didn't play great in the first quarter.
It was just a turnover at the end of the game on a fumble.
They lost to Detroit, and they lost to they're 4-2 right now.
Yeah, I know. But I couldn't remember who else they lost to.
Washington.
I don't think a record really tells you who the best team is normally. It didn't last year when Denver played Carolina in the Super Bowl.
Washington is the other team they lost to.
Yeah, Washington's
exactly.
a good team,
at the end of the
especially
game.
at Washington. So I just think Philadelphia's a complete team. I think Doug Peterson's done a great job with them. I think Carson Wentz is the real deal. Defensive line-wise, I think they're extremely good. Offensive line, they're pretty decent, which pretty decent anymore means you're a top 6 or 7 offensive line. But, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up before Matt and Aaron decide to get in a fist fight over the phone. And then Brian has to break them up. I think Brian fell asleep. You over there, Brian?
Yeah, I'm here. Barely.
All right. What was that, Eagles 34,
up.
Steelers 3, right?
What's that?
Was that Eagles 34,
He
Steelers
was
3 when Eagles
sleeping.
played them?
Wow, you had to bring that up too.
Well,
How?
Browns, so.
Well, all I know is we still right now have a better record than the Bengals. So
By 1 game.
it don't matter if it's by 1 game, half game, or an inch, as long as you're better.
It matters. It's 1 game, and you get to play the Browns soon, too. So
Thank God.
I know. It's always good to have a bye week. But, all right, guys, make sure you check out The Grueling Truth, thegruelingtruth.net. Check out all our shows. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers show this week, correct, Brian, with you and Dwight Stone?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about New England and figure out some way to come up with some kind of voodoo deal to make sure that Ben plays against Baltimore.
All right. Aaron, you'll be on the Green Bay Packers show with Joe Pritchard.
Yes, sir.
And Matt, you and Dexter are taking a week off because the Niners are on a bye week. So now this week you're going to be just like your team, huh, and take the week off.
That's right. Next week we'll be reconvening. So
and make sure you check out former LA. You're not done yet?
No, I just said check us out next Wednesday.
All right.
Yeah.
And then we've got former LA Ram tight end Tony Hunter on the Los Angeles Rams 2.0 show with Oz Davis. Make sure you check that out also. So also Gridiron Mode, www.gridironmode.com. Make sure you check out the football app, especially on Sunday morning. Get it, play it with your family and friends. So for Brian Schmidt, Mark Cooper, Aaron Zepnick, Matt Andruscavage, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.